Hello everyone who is watching our YouTube live stream or the recording of this week's growth call. I'm Chris of Ateneda and I'm your host today. As always, I already posted the Google Hangout invitation link in the chat, so you can join us here together with Manfred, Steve and Thomas, or you can just watch the live stream and ask your questions or comments in the chat, and we try to monitor it as good as possible, and if you have any questions, we try to answer them. And also hello to our Slack community. Of course, you can also just ask questions in the growth channel there as well. Yeah, our growth calls, like the one today, are about to help grow the Bisq network itself. Bisq, as you probably know already, is the only true decentralized exchange to exchange fiat with cryptocurrency or a cryptocurrency with other crypto. If you're interested in more details, please have a look at the introductional video on Bisq, which I'll link in the description below after the call. Today's agenda. So, as I mentioned already on Twitter, we want to talk about last month's trading activity on Bisq, the delisting of Grin, which just happened a couple of days ago, the update, and a short update on our marketing activities in India. And yeah, of course, we try to answer all your questions. Yeah, I would say just let's get right into it. To January. So over the last couple of months, we probably got spoiled a little bit. So it was more volume every month. So this month, we see a small, not a small, but we see a decrease in volume. So we will have a total US dollar volume of 3.4 millions and around 930 Bitcoin in total volume. So that's minus 40%. So that sounds like a big number if you just see it there. But it's actually mainly because of the lack of, not the lack, but the low volume on Monero and Bitcoin Rhodium over the last couple of days. So it's 10 days where we saw little activity, and that already causes this much of a decrease. But the interesting part is that the daily trades just reduced by 9%. So what this means is that we do have lots of trading activity on the platform, but it's mainly of new markets and new users. So people are trying out the Bisq client, obviously, and trying it out with lower volumes. The reason why this less activity on Monero and Bitcoin Rhodium has such a big effect is that the ticket size of each offer is quite big. So it's normally 1 Bitcoin. And if we see a reduced trading activity there, it has a high influence on the total volume. But the good thing is that we don't have such a big decrease in daily trades. It is that it might have a good long-term effect that we got new markets on Bisq network, and as soon as they grow in the offer size, if people feel comfortable trading there, then we are more sustainable on the long run. So, but what I wanted to show you just quickly, because we added it recently, you might know that we do have a reporting document where we monitor this kind of stuff like trading volume and other kinds of activity. I'm just switching to the document. So can you see it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Actually, just a quick comment. Would be great if we have a link to this document somewhere on the webpage. It's for other users probably difficult to find, and even for myself, I always have to look up where I have stored the link to it.
Yeah, that
would be nice to get this statistics more integrated in the webpage.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because I personally use it every day. It's kind of my go-to document just to see how the platform is performing, how it changed over time. So just to give you a short overview on the important sheets, and then I want to talk about our newest sheet. So the first sheet is the charts. So you get a high-level overview on, for example, the total trading volume. So if you just see, let's see if the rollover. So yeah, so you can see the rollover the total volume of Bitcoin, for example, here in November 2018, and the Bitcoin price as well. We also have this exchange rate on the bottom, that the number of trades that take place on the Bisq network, and you can see also the activity within the current month. So here we see that the volume went down over the last couple, or let's say the last 10 days of the month, and that had the effect. Yeah, and here we see it even better. So that's the Bitcoin volume of all markets, split up on each market, and the brown one is the Monero market. Yeah, and that's the reason for the volume. But still, here we see here we see already that we have also as a volume on the Bitcoin volume side on other markets like here Grin, or here on the Bitcoin Rhodium market. So it's a nice overview. And there, I just will scroll. There are many different sheets. I can't go into each detail, but I think they are kind of self-explanatory. But what I wanted to show you today is that we added a sheet. It's called Bisq added versus fees paid. We do create new Bisq by vote on every month. So during the DAO voting, at the moment this is not done within the client. Just on testnet we do it on the client, but for the real voting takes place in a Google spreadsheet, and we do this already for more than a year. So we have some data to look at, and here you see in the column B, that's the Bisq added by vote. So it's roughly around 50,000 BSQ added each month. There was once one month where we had quite a big amount, a big amount of BSQ that was added. That was in November, and that was just because the redesign was launched. The DAO was released on testnet, and this was put for compensation in this month, and that's the reason for the big volume. The other thing that you can see now is the fees paid. So until now, this is all public data, but it might be harder to get if you have to do it by hand. So the arbitrator, they have public addresses where the trading fee is paid to. And what we do now here in this sheet, I'm loading the balance and the transactions that go to these addresses, and display it summed up in the fees paid column. So if you look in the current month, so in January, 3.81 Bitcoin was paid in trading fees. We had a total trading volume of 930 Bitcoin, and that means the fee percentage is around 0.4%. So that the percentage changed a lot over the last couple of months. There was the reason that we did have a fixed maker fee. Manfred, correct me if I'm wrong, but no, sorry, the maker fee was not fixed. It was a kind of an algorithm. You're more far away it was from the current market price, the higher was the trading fee you had to pay, because we wanted to incentivize that people create offers that are very close to the current market price. And for the taker, the fee was fixed, and that was changed in the last release. So we have now a fixed trading fee for taker and maker, and if it's summed up, it's 0.4. So it's 0.1 for the maker and 0.3 for the taker. Yeah, and we'll see. So in February, this taker fee should be 0.4. I don't think that we have so many users using very old clients that this has an effect. But yeah, the interesting part that you can see on this sheet is if Bisq would be a company, which is not, but if the trading fees that are paid, if they getting closer and closer to the Bisq that is generated every month for the contributors to be compensated. As in every project and company, in the beginning you have to invest before you can get the volume. So we expect the Bisq added by vote to stay above the fees paid for some time. But if the model is calculated right, it could get closer already in the next 6 to 12 months. But yeah, it's hard to predict, as you know, in the cryptocurrency sphere. If we get another Monero-like market on Bisq and with such a trading volume, then it might be next month. But yeah, it's just interesting graph to look at, and yeah, gives you a good indication on the overall performance of the Bisq platform.
I think in this spreadsheet you also see very good this spike when Monero became really big in between September and October. First we have, well, it started already in August. First we had 70 Bitcoin per month, then we had 360 Bitcoin per month. So it was already whatever 5 times increase, and then another big increase between September and October from 320 to 1,100. So the current decline in relation to this is not really so big.
Yeah.
And it shows also this high volatility. So we can, and we even don't really know why Monero became so quickly so big. But yeah, that's the interesting stuff in the crypto world. Things can happen very quickly and change very quickly.
Yeah, and the good thing, or for me, the interesting part and the positive sign was that the network was able to handle it without any problem. So it was a huge increase, but yeah, it didn't have any effect on the peer-to-peer network. The only problem we saw once, but that was not so much on the peer-to-peer network. It was more Tor related. So if the Tor network is under attack, then we also recognize it in the Bisq network, as we use Tor for the whole communication. Yeah, I will stop the screen share now. And I mentioned already that we got over the last month, so in January, new markets in Bisq. So there are lots. I think it was 25 new markets. But 2 markets which picked up some speed. It was Beam and Grin. They are both implementations of the Wimble protocol, and it worked fine for Beam, as they also have the possibility to provide confirmations on transactions if there is a dispute. But on Grin, as it was still is under heavy development and was just released mid of this month, this feature was not available. Also regarding how money is transferred was not so clear. There are kind of lots of options how you can transfer between 2 Grin wallets. And as we got more and more disputes, as far as I know, Manfred, you were in contact with the arbitrators. So based on the feedback from the arbitrators, we had to take the decision to delist Grin because it cost, I think, was it 30 or 40% of all arbitration cases was just Grin?
I heard that's around 80%.
80%
of all the dispute cases, and the comparison from the number of open disputes to the trades were also something like 80–90%, which is of course terrible when basically nearly every trade ends up in dispute. Then the arbitrator is the coordinator between the 2 traders. The main problem, what I heard, was that the finality of a transfer was not really clear to the users. I don't know if it's a technical problem or it's basically just a confirmation that you send money, then it shows it arrived, and then 10 minutes later, no, it didn't arrive, or it was not successful, which is, of course, it can be that's only a lack of education of the users, that they don't understand the system good enough to make the right decision and so on. There was one case where the arbitrator made the payout then, and the other peer received then the grin, and how was it? I think he said that, I don't remember the details, but at the end there was a wrong payout. So one guy got the Bitcoin, and I have this possibility to send out a private notification, similar like the alert messages when there's a new update, or when there's anything important where we need to basically send out an alert message to all the users. And yeah, with such cases, we can contact directly a user with the onion address, and he receives then a pop-up in the application. But unfortunately, he didn't respond, as we had such cases in the past sometimes when the arbitrator made a wrong payout. And luckily, Bisq users were always so honest that they really got back and refunded the money. This time, unfortunately, the trader was not honest, and he kept the money and didn't react. So that's quite a serious case. It was not clearly the mistake of the arbitrator, because the user gave very confusing information and so on. But yeah, it showed that we are getting in trouble with Grin, that because of everything is so unstable and complicated and chaotic, that it can easily lead to the situation that the user is losing money, and also the arbitrator, because when in this case, it was not really clear that this was the arbitrator's mistake. But basically, when the arbitrator makes a mistake, he has to pay it from his pocket. Half a Bitcoin is quite a lot of money, can be even more, like 1 Bitcoin. And yeah, this all together led, and it's still not, also Grin still doesn't have the feature to prove that the transaction happened. So with Monero and all these privacy coins, the sender of the coin can prove that he has sent the coin, and that's required. Otherwise, the arbitrator doesn't know who is telling the truth, and both are in dispute. Luckily, we never had a case where it was really the case, that they never ended up in a cooperative outcome. It's basically always just technical problems with the Grin, and at some point it could get resolved. But with when we don't have a tool, when there's a real dispute, it's a problem. As far as I heard, they are implementing it, and it probably is already merged into code, but not delivered in the binary. So maybe some people who run from source code, they have already a tool, others don't have, but we cannot rely on this really. So all this, it led to we got convinced that it was too early, basically, to support this. Was a little bit a risk for us to do this. We wanted to support it because we think that privacy technology fits very well to our values, and Mimblewimble is a great technology. So we supported Beam and Grin from day one. But with Beam, the problems are much less. Luckily, in the early days, there were also quite problems, what we heard, but much less in comparison with Grin. So we made the decision now to remove Grin, as long these problems are not really solved. And when we hear from the Grin community that first the verification tool is really available and in a binary, and basically the users know how to use this, and that the transfer of Grin is much more stable, then we will consider to add it again. It's a pity because, of course, there were quite a lot of Grin traders, especially. And as I said, it fits perfectly to the Bisq philosophy with privacy protection. But I think for the moment, it creates too much troubles, and it's in no relation at all what the arbitrators are earning when they get so much risk with such and so much troubles with such a coin. It's completely out of relation. And usually, what I heard from the arbitrators, with the 0.9 release, we solved a lot of old bugs, and there are much less cases which are caused by bugs. So most cases are from banking problems or usability problems, and a few are still with bugs. But I think the percentage dropped down to something like 1% or 2% of the trades which end up in disputes, which was earlier around 5%. But now with Grin, we got terrible bad statistics again. So yeah, that required some action.
Yeah, and as long as the new trading protocol and the mediation is not in place, the arbitrator are the bottleneck, and yeah, we don't want to put too much load on them, because they should take the time to make proper dispute cases when they happen, and not do so much technical support on coins that are not so mature.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. With as when we would have the new arbitration system already in place, where the first step is that the users get in direct contact, it would be much less trouble, because basically all these problems have to be solved by the users directly. It's just their technical problems or usability problems that they don't know how to do the transfer correctly, because the important thing is that the other user has to be online, their wallet need to be listening. But that's even also not completely clear, because with Grimbox it should work also when it's not online, but for whatever reason, mostly it doesn't really work. But yeah, then it would not be on the shoulders of the arbitrators. The user could figure it out, and they have a lot of troubles, and they can decide if they go on or not with using it. But we would not care at the end. So then it would be only the question with the security that the arbitrator can approve it, which is also serious. But we took basically the risk to wait until we get really a problem. And yeah, so far we didn't have the problems, luckily. And as I said before, usually Bisq users are surprisingly honest compared to the general.
Why surprisingly, Manfred?
Because when you compare it with the general crypto space, where a lot, where the scam rate and that doesn't have the best reputation, that the most honest people are in the crypto space. But luckily that's not true for Bisq users. As I said, I think at least when I was arbitrator, I think I had 3 times the case where I made a wrong payout, and it was always refunded by honest user who paid it back. And it was a few times, I think, also 1 Bitcoin. So yeah, that's very nice. And basically from when I was arbitrator, and also from the arbitrator, what I heard now, there's nearly no case where it's a real dispute that they're lying and they're saying, no, I sent it, and the other, no, I didn't receive it, and somebody turned out to trying to scam or lie. That's basically, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, so as Manfred just mentioned, the new arbitration system that is in planning phase. If you're interested, in our last growth call, Naiman presented, and we talked about the arbitration system. There's a question in the chat. So Lucide is asking how if we saw a fraud last month, so people doing chargebacks on other on payment methods where chargebacks are possible, and if most of them got killed off when we stopped allowing payment methods like Cash App. So we disabled Cash App and Venmo, I think it was in December, or was it November? I'm not sure anymore.
That's long ago. That's a year ago.
It's even a year ago. Wow,
yeah,
time flies by.
And we didn't have any chargeback, because I would have heard this for sure from the arbitrators. So I think there was only, also ignoring this Venmo and Cash App issue, which was a serious issue, but that only affected 1 user, I think, who got 4 or 5 cases with probably the same scammer. And then we removed it. And ignoring this, I think there were 2 chargebacks over the 2.5 years. One in the very early day with Cell, and the second also with Cell. And both were rather low amounts. And yeah, we didn't find out what was the real background, but it didn't seem that it was a kind of like a professional scammer. One was maybe just a wife who was annoyed from the husband spending their shared bank account money on Bitcoin trading, and then she called their bank to get back the money, something like this. At least from that, what the users said in that moment. But also the user didn't really get much information from the bank or so, because they keep this all for them.
Okay, yeah. So to sum it up, we will watch Grin closely, and yeah, if we get feedback from the community that this confirmation is possible of transactions being sent, and there's maybe the kind of a a way to transfer the money, the kind of a best practice way, so there are not too many options, they will make it available again, and might also have to update the payment account. So if the address or how it's transferred changes, yeah. But yeah, we keep an eye on it. Yeah, let me check. The next point on the agenda would be marketing activities in India. So Steve, what's the current status on that?
Yeah, so I guess the initiative was announced a couple of weeks ago to try to get more activity in India due to what seemed like trends of banks being less tolerant to people who engage in Bitcoin trading. And so since then, I basically just wanted to go on the record and talk about what we've been doing since then. So announced on Twitter, a couple of tweets there. Got a couple of people come in on Slack in the growth channel. It seemed like they were mostly users who were interested in the initiative. Not sure they had too much to contribute. But on my end, to try to get events, workshops, I emailed a few of the most active and largest meetups in India. I emailed quite a few, did not get much of a response. I got one guy who I'm working with to try to get a meetup or workshop kind of thing set up. But upon closer analysis, it seems like the meetups are not very active. I don't think any of them had an upcoming meetup, and just generally don't seem to have very much activity. So I think the strategy to get a foothold in the market is going to have to be a little bit different. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but the meetups, I'm not sure there are even very many conferences there either. So, and then I was also looking at analytics to see what our reach is like, because if you look at the Twitter and YouTube analytics, the vast majority are US and Europe. I think India is like 2 or 3%. So even with those tweets, even though they got good engagement, I don't think people from India really saw them. So we need a new strategy to get a foothold there, and I'm not sure exactly what that is yet, but something.
So we have to need to find some communication channels for India. So kind of YouTuber who are popular there, or I don't know if there's any crypto channel or video podcast that is quite popular in India as well. But I don't know how to find it out the easy way. So if you're watching this and you're from India and you have this kind of knowledge, please contact us. Yeah, we do have some people in the chat, so there are no meetups in Chennai at least. So if you're from India and you have an idea how we could reach the community there, please contact us on Slack, Twitter, here in the comments on YouTube, and we try to help to bootstrap the market there. So I'm not sure, Manfred, do you remember? I think we did have trades with Indian rupees in the past, but one,
yeah, very few. I think I'm also not aware of any active users from India. So
yeah, Ravi just wrote in the chat that he makes a list of YouTubers that are known in India. Oh. That's great help. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I think we're going to have to do more active outreach, since our organic reach as it is right now doesn't have too much of an Indian presence. So that, I guess, YouTubers and, like you were saying, podcasters and those types of people would be great to reach out to.
Regarding kind of a media package or similar, as it's asked by Lucid, so we do have a design repository. I can put the link in the description afterwards, where you can find just design material, Bisq logo, different colors, sizes, if you need it to print out or to create stuff regarding more brochures or PDFs. So we do have some papers, but most of the up-to-date stuff is on the website or on the docs, on docs.bisq network. So I don't think we have special PDFs prepared, but I think the layout of the documentation site and the website is quite nice. So you can just save it as a PDF and to hand out. But regarding design, as your logo type and this kind of material, we do have the design repository, which I'll link afterwards. Yeah, might be also a possibility to contact universities and schools there. Yeah, I don't know if cryptocurrencies, or if there are courses specific to cryptocurrency or blockchain technology in India, but I guess so. But yeah, so if you have any knowledge on universities which are specialized in that area or are quite popular, let us know. And even better, if you have a contact there, we either could just provide you with some material which you could forward, or if you could make an introduction to Steve, so he can pick it up afterwards. Yeah, anything else, Steve, from your side?
I think that's it.
Yeah. No. We plan to do some live DAO action on testnet, filing compensation requests, but we might have an issue during the vote reveal phase. So if you are a contributor, please still create your compensation requests to test it a little bit. But for everyone else, just bear with us until the next release. And this bug is fixed, so you can see the real process on testnet with the Bisq DAO as well. Yeah, Manfred, yeah.
Would you like to say a little bit about the next planned release, what we plan to add and when it's planned?
Yeah, so the next release is planned for mid of February, so around the 13th or so of February. We do have lots of changes in there already, and also lots and lots of altcoins again. So yeah, I think it will be a real nice update and release, especially for everything that is DAO related. So a lot of effort went into that, and yeah, really looking forward to it. So if you want to help testing, of course, I will join us on Slack in the testing channel, and we take you from there. But to be able to test, the requirement is that you are able to build from source. So
one small thing to add here, maybe, as we plan to support or to add stable coins again. We had in the past a few stable coins like Tether, but in the past it was never traded. Because stable coins become more and more popular again. We're not following very closely. There are quite a few now out, and yeah, it's not really the most interesting stuff for Bitcoin, for real Bitcoiners, because at the end they're always centralized. But I think they can serve an interesting niche to for those people who don't need to get into the real fiat back and forth. They can use it either for hedging when you don't want to have all your risk exposed in Bitcoin, or for speculating between Bitcoin and any fiat currency in a more frictionless way, like with real fiat. So when you trade higher amounts with a normal bank account, you get quickly in troubles. With a stable coin, it's basically an altcoin, and you have a lot of benefits over to fiat compared to fiat. So I think it could add some benefits for some users, for some type of users, and that's why we want to add it. And yeah, it's not an endorsement. Of course, be sure that basically Mt. Gox dollars, you have to trust the issuer, and they can go, they can break down one day like Mt. Gox, and yeah, know your risk when you use it. But I think for small amounts and for short time to hold it, it could be convenient for some type of activities. And yeah, nothing is worse like the banks and the fiat. So they are not competing with Bitcoin, they are competing with fiat in a way. But yeah, I think they add some benefits.
Yeah, so if you are into stablecoins and you want a specific stablecoin, please feel free to contact us. I haven't used them so far. I just looked on the CoinMarketCap, and the top 3 that I saw is the famous Tether. Then there's Maker, True US Dollar, and yeah, and there are some that have very low volume, but yeah, we might stick to the ones with the most volume if there's no demand from the community or for specific stablecoins. Steve, there's a question from Lucid regarding your invitation on the MIT Bitcoin Expo. You will be there, is this right?
Yes, yeah, I just answered in the text. I'm going to be there. Just basically an overview on the Bisq DAO and what it is, why it's so important, and what it does and how it works. So I think the title is the title of the talk is supposed to be using the Bitcoin blockchain to implement this decentralized governance, something like that. So yeah, just an overview of the DAO, basically.
When is this conference?
I believe it's at the beginning of March.
Cool. There's, by the way, another Bisq contributor, Naiman, will make a DAO presentation at FOSDEM. It's this weekend on the, I think, 2nd of February in Brussels. So anybody who is there or who are planning to go there, it's a great conference, huge. I think the biggest open source project, at least in Europe. And just try to get in touch with him. There might be a few other Bisq developers there as well.
Yeah, cool. Sorry, Manfred. Yeah.
We got another question. How to earn BSQ, or if you're not a developer, there are many ways how you can contribute to Bisq. So it's basically everything what adds value to the project to Bisq is up for compensation. It can be that doing translation, helping on communication, writing text, improving stuff on textual basis, making videos, or whatever you find what matches your talent with anything which is beneficial for Bisq is basically a question, up for compensation. If you're not sure, just discuss, join us on Slack or on GitHub and get in touch and ask the people there, and you will quickly get a feedback if this is reasonable or not.
Yeah, I just posted the link to the GitHub issues, the roles, where we explicitly marked them as help wanted, and there are some, as Manfred said, where you don't need any engineering background, so it's support staff, just being an ambassador, working on different kind of platforms. Yeah, so you can look through these roles that are open and ask your questions there, or if you find something that you think fits your profile, get in contact with the primary owner who is mentioned in the issue. And yeah, if you don't find anything and want to help, join us on Slack. I think, as Manfred said, there's lots of opportunity to earn Bisq in multiple ways. Are there any other questions from you watching us live? Otherwise, I would wrap it up. Manfred, is there anything you want to add for this call?
No, I think we covered most.
Yeah, so if you are a developer and interested in more technical details, we do have weekly developer calls now as well. So they are on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central European Time, also here on YouTube. So everyone is everyone is welcome to join and to watch, but be aware so you need an engineering background, and if you haven't looked at the source code or the technical concept on Bisq, then it might be not so interesting for you. So, but yeah, we do have lots of tech talks. So before joining, it also makes sense to watch them. So it's more enjoyable for you to watch us talk about coding specifics. Yeah, if there's nothing more, today is the last day of to file your compensation request. If you have contributed this month, we will have a review phase tomorrow, so on the 1st of February, and afterwards there are 2 days voting phase. I will also announce that on GitHub. Yeah, and besides that, yeah, looking forward to the new release, and I'll see you again next week on Wednesday or Thursday, depending what you want to watch. Okay, See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.